This is a canopic jar comprised of calcite. Now, canopic jars, of which there are a series of different kinds which serve different purposes, and I'll get to that, were an essential part of the ancient Egyptian mummification process. So these jars were used to store and preserve the internal organs of the deceased for the afterlife. During embalming, the body was carefully eviscerated. The internal organs were removed, largely because they would decompose rapidly otherwise. However, Egyptians believed these organs were needed in the afterlife, so they were treated separately, embalmed, and placed in these canopic jars. Each one of these jars, of which there were four of them, were dedicated to one of the four sons of Horus, which is the bird-headed god that many of you are going to be familiar with aesthetically from popular culture. So these protective deities were associated with specific organs. First of all, you had the jar for the liver, which was human-headed, and this deity was called Imseti. Then you had the baboon-headed jar, which was called Harpy, which protected the lungs. Then you had the jar which contained the stomach, which is very often confused with the god Anubis because it's jackal-headed. This is Duamutef, which is not Anubis, different deity entirely. Then you had the falcon-headed, which is Keneb-Senuth, which is what protected the intestines. The jars were usually comprised of stone, pottery, or wood. This one, for example, is Duamutef, the jackal-headed deity which protected the stomach and is comprised of calcite. Now, these were often placed in what was known as a canopic chest within the tomb itself. So the heart, considered the seat of intelligence and emotion, was sometimes left in the body or treated separately, while the brain was usually completely discarded, which is ironic. Now, the canopic jars reflect the Egyptians' deep concern within the afterlife and the underlying belief that both body and soul needed to be whole and protected to live eternally.